Good morning. Welcome back. And for those of you joining us for the very first time, I'm Thelma Barker, President of the Independent Telecommunications Pioneers Association National Capital Chapter, and also Director of Sales for the Department of Defense within Comcast Government Services. Today, ITPA NCC proudly hosts our fifth virtual event of the year as part of our ongoing and popular series of information exchange sessions, from in-person lunches to now remote sessions as part of our monthly virtual series. Today's Trial by Fire webinar will have a focus on mobility innovations with our guest speaker, CIO of the United States Army Corps of Engineers, Mr. Dovarius Peoples. A little bit about ITPA. The Independent Telecommunications Pioneers Association is a nonprofit professional association created by and for telecommunications professionals. Dedicated to community service, ITPA has been serving the public on behalf of telecom companies since 1920. Each year, our national chapter selects and presents awards to officially recognize chapters, clubs, and individuals who have exemplified the principles of pioneering. Today, we're happy to announce our 2020 National Awards. Our Capital Area chapter has been awarded the second place Community Enhancement Award for our 2020 USO Project ELF drive, and overall, the first place Pioneer's Choice Award from our last year's 11th annual charity golf tournament. These awards and additional donations from our national chapter will directly help our local charities and will be presented this summer during the Nationals Awards ceremony. To help expand our membership and continue to grow our association, to set up our future success, we've created a mentor-protege program here within ITPA NCC. This program provides a unique pathway for young professionals within the first 10 years of their professional careers to join our organization, as well as to network and serve the community. These mentors and our members on our board have been able to and will continue to instill their institutional knowledge and wisdom to help guide these proteges throughout their career. This new program will enable individuals to attend our events, learn about our industry, and lend new ideas and perspectives to our organization. Nominations for our new class are now open. If you'd like to nominate a potential protege for our local chapter, please reach out to us after the event for more information. Now, a little bit more about the local charities and causes ITPA NCC supports. We support our local Juvenile Research Diabetes Foundation Mid-Atlantic chapter, who is developing life-changing therapies that lessen the impact of type 1 diabetes. We just launched our inaugural STEM grant program to help those interested in pursuing a career in technology get the added support needed to ensure success through their education. This past holiday season, we were able to double our fundraising goal and raise over $7,000 for the USO's Project ELF. And every year, ITPA NCC hosts our annual golf charity tournament to help our three charities. And we always have a team of veterans on behalf of the SMGA. More on our annual golf tournament will be shared a little later. From March through May, we kicked off our regional fundraising campaign to help our local community during these uncertain times, those who were affected by the pandemic with food insecurity. We set out to raise $1,500 and told you that we would match that contribution. I'm happy to announce today that we're almost there. Your contributions will help our local Feeding America chapter by enabling them to purchase 2,800 meals for deserving families in need. This assistance could not be more dire as our local food banks have increased requests throughout the pandemic. We continue to accept donations today in hopes of reaching our goal. We're almost there. We need about $100 more. And of course, none of this would be possible without you, our sponsors of ITPA NCC. I'd like to personally recognize the contributions and support of all of our corporate sponsors, our platinum sponsors, Avaya Government Solutions, Comcast Government Services, Granite Government Solutions, Hughes, and Lumen. Our gold sponsors, Converge One, Graybar, Metel, SUS Consulting, T-Mobile Secure Federal Operations, and Verizon. Our silver sponsors, BJJ and Associates, Collab 9, Corning, Equinex, GBI, GES, and Turning Point, as well as our newest technology sponsor, Panoptis Intelligence. Thank you, Mr. Kagan, and welcome. We are grateful for our ongoing sponsorship support and thrilled to have an array of new sponsors with us this season. And now, a few quick items before we get started. Our press policy, we welcome our friends and colleagues from the media. As a reminder, today's sessions are on the record. You may submit any of your questions in the chat. We will try to get through as many of them as possible. If you're having any technical difficulties, please use the chat box in your toolbar to chat with our webinar host. And then today's webinar will be recorded and posted on our YouTube channel for your future viewing pleasure. And now I'm pleased to introduce a former ITPA president and current board member, Jayson Schwam. Jayson is Director of Business Development for Turning Point Global Solutions, LLC, an industry-leading telecom lifecycle management company. He has been a part of ITPA NCC's leadership for almost a decade, having served as president of the organization from 2015 to 2016, and currently serves as ITPA NCC's sponsorship committee chair. Mr. Schwam has had federal sales and business development efforts, has led federal sales and business development efforts for over 25 years, specializing in guiding technology companies within the public sector space. With knowledge of government agencies, telecommunications providers, systems integrators, and other key telecom partners, he is well known in the public sector telecommunications arena. Now, over to you, Jayson.
Thank you, Thelma. As Thelma mentioned, I'm the Director of Business Development for Turning Point Global Solutions, and we are a leading telecom lifecycle expense management company, especially focused on government, wireline, and mobility with an emphasis on EIS transition. I have the great privilege of introducing Mr. Dovarius Peoples, the Chief Information Officer for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. He was selected for the Senior Executive Service in January of 2016 and assumed his current role in April of 2019. In this role, he serves as the Principal Advisor to the Commanding General on information technology issues and is responsible for all aspects of information resource management and information technology. Prior to his current assignment, Mr. Peoples served as the Deputy to the Commanding General at U.S. Army NetCom. In this capacity, Mr. Peoples provided senior technical leadership to ensure Army theater level networks were integrated into the Army's portion of DODIN, the Department of Defense Information Network, and all enterprise constructs. Mr. Peoples' previous assignments have covered key mobility and cyber roles at NSA, U.S. Cybercom, DISA, at the Pentagon with ITA and JSP, OPM, and U.S. Army's NETCOM. He holds a Master of Science in Information Technology from the University of Maryland and a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science from Norfolk State University. His certifications include Program Management, Acquisition Professional Development Program, and EIDL Foundation's V.3. In addition, he has been awarded the Air Force Meritorious Civilian Service Award. Let us welcome Mr. Peoples.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
We can hear you fine. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, so first, I'd like to thank everybody for the opportunity just to socialize not just some of the things that we within the Army Corps of Engineers are doing to support the nation, but also to have the opportunity just to mix and mingle amongst professionals as well. Just to kind of give some an introduction to the Army Corps of Engineers. Some may know, some may not. So the Army Corps of Engineers has a unique mission, a dual mission at that, where we are responsible for a civil works program. We also have a mill program as well, where we provide construction for the nation. And then we have a unique disaster relief mission as well. So with that being said, there are about 36,000 users or employees within the Army Corps of Engineers that we are responsible from a CIO perspective to provide resources to those individuals. Some of the major efforts and initiatives that we've embarked upon throughout the course of FY21 specifically is our digital modernization and transformation effort and initiative. And with that being said, there's a significant reliance upon our telecom, working with some of our various vendors to include our mission enabler that provides us a lot of our integration services, SAIC, as we went through our contract transition here within the past several months. They're actually assisting us through a lot of our modernization journeys. So some of the things that we've been focusing on is really enhancing our end user connectivity, enhancing our mission system applications as well, and being able to support more of our disaster relief efforts and initiatives. Because as you know, throughout the nation, we go through flood fighting season, hurricane season, even wildfires in certain areas, as well as we're supporting the fight for COVID-19 now, to get us back to a new now or a different now and a more acceptable operating posture, as well as support remote work as we continue to go forward. So with some of those various things being said, we've had an interesting journey as we begin our modernization efforts or our operation into this new now construct. Some of the things we've embarked upon is how do we modernize our data centers? As you know, right now, our data centers are centrally located, one in Vicksburg, Mississippi, and the other one in Portland, Oregon. With that being said, we've seen a lot of significant mission implications and degradation challenges as we continue to operate. So with that being said, we've been forced to think differently, to assess how we operate and can support our end users from a remote connectivity standpoint. So with that being said, we've partnered with a lot of our industry partners to establish our Equinex program or our Meet Me Point concept, which is in accordance with our digital transformation strategy. So what that means is we are looking to have a triple active architecture, because one of the things we've seen is you never know what may happen going forward. So to ensure that we can effectively operate our mission, we decided to ensure that our data centers were centrally located to allow for more optimal use, being that we're in 55 districts within the United States, state and local. We have 9 division headquarters, and we're spread out in 123 countries providing engineering type support. We have to ensure that our users can optimally connect. So we're enhancing our architecture, moving more towards that of a triple active architecture, where our data centers now will be located in Virginia, the other in California, and the next one will probably be in Texas from a United States standpoint, to ensure that we can connect in a more optimal manner. And some of the other things that we've done from a collaboration perspective, we're using the unified capabilities of working with CBR that the Department of Defense has enabled us to leverage. And as you know, we're transitioning more to leveraging our USACE Teams version now, because that will be sunsetting here on the 15th of June. However, we will be leveraging our Microsoft Teams environment that we've stood up within the O365 suite from an Army Corps of Engineers perspective, which will give us the ability to effectively collaborate with the rest of our mission partners throughout the Department of Defense, to include Army. COVID-19 has sent us in many different directions. We've been able to observe a lot, and then we're applying those observations and turning them into lessons learned to better be able to support the remote work environment. So with that being said, we're going through an application modernization journey, meaning how can we enhance our applications to be more accessible to our end users via mobile devices, because mobility is something critical and key that we believe from an Army Corps of Engineers standpoint will take us to the next level. How can users access these applications going through a web browser in a secure method versus having to rely on a VPN constantly? Because now VPNs aren't necessarily so much the way users are connecting, but we're trying to think differently and allow them access to all of their mission applications using some of their own regular devices that they're used to. May not be personal devices, but right now we're using government furnished equipment. However, we're still allowing them to access those applications that are mission critical through mobile devices. So being able to properly secure those devices, we're looking at concepts such as that of zero trust. We're taking the zero trust methodology, deploying that, taking it from a more theoretical perspective to a more operational construct at the moment. And as you know, that deny all understanding or being able to partition those that have access based off your roles, responsibilities, and mission needs. Those are some of the things that we're beginning to do within the Corps of Engineers. And we're also taking a strong look at the OT aspects of things. When you think about industrial control systems, we're beginning to look at those even more critical because we have a huge civil mission from a Corps of Engineers side of the house, meaning we operate and secure your levees, locks, dams for your waterways and connectivity on the industrial side. And what they do is they also require some type of what I like to call a DUDAT, which is a technical capability that allows those mission capabilities to operate. So one of the things we're trying to do is properly secure those things because the OT aspect is probably one of the more critical things that we so often forget about from a cybersecurity perspective because they kind of run their own self. But if something happens, then, to the waterways or those type of things, then we have a huge catastrophe on our hands because everyone uses all of these resources. So being able to properly secure the technical mechanisms that allows for the ways and means of that to be successful, those are some of the things that we're beginning to look at pretty strategically. Some of the other efforts and initiatives we're looking at is with regards to 5G. How can we ensure that our distant in locations have the proper connections? Because again, we're at construction sites, so we're not located on your central camp, post, and station. One of the things that we're beginning to do is figure out how can we ensure that those distance end users that are in Montana and Walla Walla, upstate Washington, even down south in the Mississippi Valley, areas such as New Orleans and Mississippi, have the ability to connect, whether you're at a project site, whether you're performing dredging capabilities or those type of things for the nation. Because if you can't connect, then we can't do our job optimally. So we're trying to enhance those connections. And 5G is a capability that we're definitely looking at to ensure that we can properly be successful and meet the mission needs. One of the things I also say that we've learned or that we've observed is from a financial perspective, ensuring that we can properly operate. But in order to modernize, you need to ensure you have the funds. So one of the things that not just the pandemic has forced us to do, but this new now has forced us to do significantly is reassess how we fund a lot of our modernization efforts. Meaning instead of those things that were identified at the right-hand side of the pendulum, we begin to move those to the left. And from a financial side of the house, ensuring that those things properly align. Because in order to meet the forever changing landscape within IT, we have to be able to be agile and meet those needs through financial and funding. And I think last but not least, one of the more critical elements that we put a lot of focus in is our civilian workforce. People first is always the mantra, and we're continuing to evolve, ensuring that our end users have the proper training, ensure that they can be successful, whether that's training of online training, very little in-person training due to the fact of the pandemic. But I think we have really modernized how we look at the approach of ensuring that our professional employees are well equipped and trained. So we've been partnering with Big Army, the larger Army headquarters, on how to ensure that those programs are rolled out to our employees. And we've been having a lot of webinars with a lot of our mission partners as well. So a lot is going on in the Corps of Engineers, and we are excited about the journey we're on. And I thank you for the opportunity just to have a little bit of time to discuss some of the things that we're doing. I'll pause there, and if there are any questions, comments, and concerns, happy to address them. But again, I thank you for the opportunity. That's all I have.
Mr. Peoples, thank you so much. That was quite a bit of information and a compact statement, and you all certainly are doing quite a bit, and much more than I'm sure you ever imagined pre-COVID. And I'm just curious, before we even get started in the question and answer. So is all of this being done with the current staff, the individuals that you had on board pre-pandemic, or did you have to staff up to try to meet these initiatives as well?
Yeah, we've been able to do a lot of this with the current on-staff team that we have. However, we have realigned several functions, roles, and responsibilities within the organization to allow for efficiencies. And we have moved forward on several hires as well. One, we're looking at a digital transformation on the federal civilian side of the house, as well as a chief data officer. We're in the process of hiring for a chief data officer now, working through those nuances also, because I've been doing dual roles and responsibilities. But as you know, it's always good to have that separation of duties when it comes to IT, to be able to see things slightly different, as well as align with the headquarters. So we are doing a lot and looking for that right diverse talent to help move us into the next era. So we've made some changes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and with those changes and thinking about talent, how has that changed, and what is your view as far as talent acquisition when it comes to younger professionals? So are you successful in bringing the younger generation into the Army Corps, or is that a challenge for you?
Yeah, so I mean, to be honest with you, the Army Corps of Engineers is such a diverse organization. And the CG puts heavy emphasis on people and diversity. One of the things that we leverage heavy on, working with Ms. Payne, who's our senior HR executive, we participate in a lot of hiring events and fairs. We put a lot of emphasis in the HENAC. Not sure if you're all familiar with the HENAC conference, even with the BEA conference as well. So we reach out to a lot of colleges. We partner with a lot of colleges and universities, as well as a lot of different diverse organizations to really get the right talent. So from within the Corps of Engineers, we aggressively partner with a lot of these organizations to ensure we're at the table. Now, when you start to talk about professionals, we're understanding that as we work remote, more and more professionals are wanting the opportunity to work from a remote place versus having to go into the workforce or in an organization or a building. And with that being said, we within the Corps of Engineers are being adaptable and adjustable as we go forward, understanding that you don't have to be in the DC area just to get hired for a position, because a lot of the talent are in many different areas now, especially since a lot of buildings are given a lot of lease space back and a lot of professionals are working from home. So if you can do the job from home, why not reach out to the right talent there? And that's the perspective that the Corps is looking at, especially as we go through our workplace modernization transformation journey, which the CG has put a lot of emphasis on. So we're definitely looking outside the box for the right professionals to help us take our journey to the next level. And no thought is too small when it comes to workforce and workplace modernization and transformation.
Okay, wonderful. So what I'm not going to do is dominate this session with just my questions. We did have quite a few questions that were submitted during our registration process. So I'm going to open up the participant Q&A now. And just a quick reminder, you can insert questions into our Q&A chat. If we're unable to get to them today, we will get responses and post them at a future date on our website. So our first question is coming in from government. Mr. Peoples, once COVID-19 set in, what were some of the changes you made to move the organization towards mobility and meet response mission?
Yeah, so one of the things we did was we ensured that our infrastructure could handle the load. Before COVID-19 or before the remote work guidance was given, we had on average about maybe 500 users a day connected to the VPN. With that being said, over the course of probably about a 4-day span, we had to expand that capacity. And we expanded that capacity from handling maybe about 1,000 user capacity to 40,000 on each in each data center. So that was about almost an 80,000 user capacity expansion in 4 days. Because we knew in order for users to do their job effectively, they had to have some type of connectivity in order to reach back to their mission critical applications. So expanding that VPN was critical. And that was just one instance of what we've seen throughout COVID-19. Being able to rapidly deploy mission critical capabilities versus the standard convention of taking months and months and months. You have to do that in weeks or even days to be able to keep up, being that everybody's working remote in disparate locations. So speed and agility and expansion are some of the things that we definitely had to take into account as we adjust to the remote work construct through the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay. We had this question come in from one of our media affiliates. How did you prioritize efforts of modernization within the immediate push to a full digital workforce? And was it the same case 3 months later?
Yeah, so we laid out a strategy. When I came on board to the Corps of Engineers, we laid out a strategy. And that strategy was to really transform digitally the organization. So when you begin to think about the steps and the journeys, things that it would take to get there, our viewpoint and our plan didn't change, because we knew in order to be a true organization, we had to adapt and embrace to the digital transformation, because everyone is digital now. No one is using the conventional methods. So we operate using what I like to use micro strategies, and those micro strategies are objectives and activities. And with that being said, we have about 90 different micro strategies in various different lanes of IT, finance, project management, and many other different things, to include new modernization and technology. The only thing we did, we followed the roadmap. However, one of the things we did do, we moved a lot of things on that roadmap that were potentially in the FY22 lane to the FY21 lane. And working with our RM, our resource management group within the Army Corps of Engineers, they have been very proactive in assisting us with funding a lot of our modernization challenges as well, because without the funds, the technology wouldn't be able to be implemented and those type of things. So we prioritized, we racked and stacked, but it wasn't to say, oh, we were caught behind the 8-ball. We were able to say, okay, this is what was in 22. We need to move this to the left some to ensure we can meet the need. And when you look fast forward now, I think we've been operating for about 9 months now. The path that we're on has remained consistent. We've just continued to lean forward and press forward. So the things that we prioritize would be still the same things we'll prioritize going forward, or if we had to do it over again, because it was within alignment with the strategy. And I think that's critical and key. Having a solid digital transformation strategy will allow you to see where you're going. And we put a pretty solid one in place that we have worked with a lot of our mission partners.
Okay, very good. What decisions in your estimation were the most critical to balancing the mandate of telework workforce with the mission drive need to continue focusing on building IT infrastructure for the future of the Army Corps?
Yeah, I think it was being able to balance I think it was more so the human element versus anything else, because as technical professionals, or even just as professionals in general, we have that human element, that human factor. We like to reach out, we like to touch. So being that we don't have, or we're restricted from having that human element or the human interaction, it was a significant challenge to a certain extent of being able to make sure that everything was well coordinated from a remote standpoint. It's a difference than being able just to go down the hallway to a queue and say, hey, what's going on, or what do we have? It becomes more so, hey, are we up on using our collaboration tools and those type of things? But one of the things I can say in conjunction with that, we have seen productivity increase. Because now, it's not as difficult to get in contact with some of the professionals, and you don't have to balance between drive time into the office and those type of things. So from an IT perspective, I think our users, or our user-based community that leverage our IT resources, have really embraced the technology we're putting in place. And from an IT staff, our team has been even more responsive. And, I couldn't be more happy with the responsiveness the team has provided. And I think that was the critical piece, the human element, because we do like that interaction. And that was difficult starting out, because it was hard to get into that operational construct. But I think we've started to settle in pretty well with the collaboration tools that we have and being able to leverage those type of resources.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about cybersecurity. What effect did data governance and cybersecurity play at the point in the response?
Yeah, so data governance is, I think data itself is critical. Everything we do, data is the foundation. It makes the world go round. Because at the end of the day, in order to make informed decisions, you need access to data. In order to have conversations, you also need access to data, and ensuring that data is delivered to the end user from a visualization perspective for as easy for consumption, and ensuring that data is of quality as well, because if you can't make a decision with bad data, and then being able to ensure that the people that need access to it have the ability to access it. So how does that tie back to cybersecurity? Again, you have different concepts that we're working to put in place, same things such as zero trust, ensuring that we have a continuous ATOs, or a continuous risk management framework, the ability to continue to assess the landscape at all times to ensure that the data being accessed is secure. So those are some of the things we begin to put in place, but I think they go hand in hand. And through our data governance, we begin to set structures in place that our enterprises begin to embrace and understand that, hey, as we look at things from a data perspective, we have to be able to balance mission, operations, and cyber, because technically they go hand in hand without one outweighing the other from a security perspective.
Okay. Staying on cyber for just a little bit, there was a new cyber order this week. What are you and the Corps doing to modernize security in the short term and long term?
Yeah, we inside of that order, section 2 was specifically focusing on the zero trust methodology and mandate from a readiness perspective. How are you going to properly roll that out? And again, within the Corps of Engineers, we have moved forward from a theological perspective towards now more of an operational implementation on the IT and the OT aspects of things. And one of the things that the executive order really emphasized was, hey, the zero trust, rolling out zero trust, having your plan, ensuring that your modernization journey is aligned from a financial perspective. And one of the things that we're also doing, we're looking to leverage some of the TMF, the Technology Modernization Fund that's been put in place as well, working closely with OMB to help us fast track some of our modernization efforts and initiatives. And a part of that, zero trust is a key enabler to help us do that. So we are definitely looking at all aspects. And we're also taking it a step further to really ensure that our professionals understand from a technology standpoint what cybersecurity means, make sure that they're properly trained and they can leverage the tools as well to ensure that the enterprise and the infrastructure is properly secure. So we are heavily annotated into what that EO means, and we are building our plan to ensure that we're properly aligned and can also properly articulate what we're doing to ensure we're in alignment with that mandate.
Okay. This next question is more so directed directly at you. So how did the flux caused by COVID-19 affect executing your modernization vision as CIO? And what did you do to ensure continual improvement of that?
Yeah, again, it really didn't change the vision. My vision for the Corps of Engineers is to be a true digital organization. Digital organization meaning I can do my job anywhere. I don't have to be tied to a camp post station. I don't have to be tied to a desk. Wherever I am, if I'm doing dredging, I could be on the dredging site. If I'm on construction, I could be on a construction site. If I'm an admin, I could be at Starbucks. And with that being said, in order to do that, I have to be an agile, digitally transformed organization where data is always accessible. And within our various lines of effort, we've put focus into the data governance, the data modernization, our application modernization, and then our network infrastructure modernization and transformation as well, with the foundational element being that of cybersecurity and in enhancing our workforce. So with that being said, our plans and concepts never changed. But one of the things it did do, it forced us to expedite some of those. So pull some of those inchstones and milestones to the left that were on the right-hand column. And that's where we're beginning to see benefit, because now we're going through looking at our divestment strategies where we can divest, but yet reinvest funds, because from an IT standpoint, I never say divest too much, especially from a funding or saving rather. I can always divest equipment, but I reinvest that to continue to modernize and enhance how we deliver services and capabilities. So our journey, we stayed on track. And I think when we look at the plan and we look at the roadmap of where we expect to be, nothing is really off. It's just, how can I quickly get to it versus taking a more stagnated approach.
Okay. So how did you balance all that was happening and evolve against, evolving all that was happening and evolving against your no-fail mission?
It really takes, and we were talking about this earlier, it really takes a team it's not just a one individual, because we have so many moving parts from the Corps of Engineers. Disaster relief, as you know, disasters happen every day. When you begin to look at the nation of what's going on, whether it's floods in the Mississippi, or whether it's wildfires in California, or whether it's helping build vaccination stations for COVID-19 vaccines, there is always something going on, and every day we are a part of the fight. So with that being said, it takes a true team in order to really be able to get that done. So we're structured, we're properly structured, and we're postured to be able to support and meet that requirement and need. But one of the things we begin to do is continue to emphasize agility and accuracy, because the threat continues to change, the requirements continue to change, and the nation's dependency on us changes as well, depending on what that threat may be or what the natural mission may be at that time. So we're just continuing to move, but I think it's credited to a good team that understands the mission, understands the task, and can effectively deliver without having to have too much supervision, but have a willingness to get things done. So I would say that whole team, it takes a tribe to really move the mission forward. And that's one of the things I think we have in the Corps of Engineers.
So staying on the theme of team for just a moment, how do you envision the new administration infrastructure bill impacting the Army Corps? Do you see it happening in an immediate sense? Do you feel like it's more long-term? And what are your thoughts around how you all adjust according to that?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Right now, I couldn't give you a direct answer because, as you know, the administration is just picking up speed. There are a lot of new assessments that are going about to include whether that's budget, whether that's infrastructure or civil side of the house. So right now we are more so in receipt mode and analysis mode, because again, you know, it takes every administration that changes, it takes a while for things to get in a solid operational posture, especially with the change of professionals, change of ideas, and change of concepts. So right now, from an Army Corps of Engineers side of the house, especially for IT, we are just continuing to keep the mission moving, and we'll continue to do that assessment to ensure we understand clearly where we fall when those assessments are finalized. But right now, it's just a little too early to say exactly how we fall or where we fall at, due to the fact that the administration is just coming on board new. Maybe in another year, we could probably give you a more definitive answer with regards to that question. But right now, we're still doing the assessment to really make that solid determination.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you. So do you have time for one more question?
Sure.
Okay, so this one's coming in from one of our industry partners, and it's a two-part question. So the first part, at what point did you know that some of the working environment and tool changes caused by the response would not be permanent? And then the second part of the question is, how did you work with government and industry partners to ensure that what capabilities were kept dovetailed with your vision of a mobility future for the Army Corps?
Yeah, so the things that we put in place from an Army Corps of Engineers side of the house are permanent. They are permanent, and they will be permanent as we continue to evolve. Now, granted, as technology changes, we'll continue to assess, reassess to make sure we're optimal and we're operating in the right construct. But things that we put in place to ensure that we could operate in a remote construct during COVID-19, things such as VPN, working heavy and closely with our mission partners, Cisco and many others, to ensure that we had the right VPN equipment. That equipment is still moving, still going, and we're not divesting of that equipment because VPN is always needed for connection. So we were really able to enhance our infrastructure. So that will be an enduring investment, which is giving us a good return on investment with the stability that we're seeing. Other mission capabilities, O365, moving forward towards more of a cloud construct. We are leveraging Microsoft Teams. We're also leveraging WebEx and several others, but these are capabilities that we had pre-COVID. So it's not as if we had to ramp up and implement a lot of these things. Yes, we are an Army organization, a DoD element with one of our reporting hats. So we did leverage CVR, or we do leverage CVR that DoD CIO has rolled out. But we're also working aggressively to ensure that we can meet the intent of the next steps, which is to have your O365 Microsoft environment ready to go, which at the Corps of Engineers, we have that solution ready to go. We're performing the last checks and balances from a testing perspective to make sure we can operate. But looking long term, O365 in a cloud environment will be an enduring capability that we will leverage for quite some time. So the things we put in place, we made the decision to make sound investments, not just to satisfy the right now, but to satisfy also the long-term plan, because, you know, we want to ensure that we are good stewards of the government's funds and what taxpayers entrust us with. So with that being said, we have to make sound investments that are not just temporary replacements, but are enduring solutions that can take us into the future and support us as we go through our digital modernization and transformation. And our mission partners have been with us every lockstep of the way, giving us good recommendations, sound guidance and advice, as well as helping us out with being able to ensure that our equipment is properly configured, ensure that we understand what the journey is going from legacy to modernization as well. So all of those things have been put in place, and it's really been a team effort to ensure that we are postured and prepared to be successful from an Army Corps of Engineer perspective.
Well, under your leadership, you certainly are. So, Mr. Peoples, thank you. On behalf of all those on the call today and the board of ITPA NCC, we thank you for spending some time with us today in part 2 of your 3-part series. We look forward to hosting you again on Thursday, June the 3rd for part 3. This has been quite an abundance of information, and it is extremely valuable. Your first session with us met with rave reviews. So we were excited to have you today, and we look forward to seeing you.
Thank you all for the opportunity. I hope everybody have a good weekend, able to get some rest and stay safe.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So once again, a special thank you to all of our sponsors this season. We greatly appreciate our platinum sponsors, Avaya Government Solutions, Comcast Government Services, Granite Government Solutions, Hughes, and Lumen. Our gold sponsors, Converge One, Graybar, Medtel, Sus Consulting, T-Mobile Secure Federal Operations, and Verizon. Our silver sponsors, BJJ and Associates, Collab 9, Corning, Equinix, GBI, GES, and Turning Point, as well as our newest technology sponsor, Panoptis Intelligence. We have a few upcoming events, including the return of our annual in-person event that we'd like you to mark your calendars for. First, join us as we welcome back Mr. Peoples on June 3rd for the final installment of our ongoing session with the Army Corps of Engineers. Then we'll continue the tradition of our 12th annual charity golf tournament. For more on that, I'd like to welcome fellow ITPA board member, Jayson Brumfield. Jayson is the Senior Director and General Manager for Federal Civilian and Law Enforcement Sector at Lumen. He has been with the company since 2013, having responsibility for leading the go-to-market efforts for Lumen Telecommunications product and IT services sales to the civilian federal government. Under his leadership, teams of federal account directors have collaborated with civilian agencies to support IT modernization initiatives. He is also another past president for ITPA NCC and chair of our golf committee. For more on what we have planned for this summer, I'd like to welcome Jayson Brumfield. Jayson, over to you.
Hey, thanks, Thelma. Very excited to be back for the summer to handle the ITPA Charity Golf Tournament. So this will be our 12th year. Incredibly exciting. Much like the Masters, I've been telling everybody we got to have a fall tournament followed by our normal scheduled event here for the summer. So you have hopefully seen a number of flyers passed around virtually, or maybe you've seen one directly mailed to you. But go ahead, get a hold of any of us at the bottom of the screen here, Mr. Amos, Mr. Cahoon, or myself, if you're interested in sponsoring. This is a huge event, and also a huge event just for our charities. So we've had a bunch of interest over the last week. I know we're about a couple months away from the tournament now, so continue to reach out. We are looking for raffle items. If you have any exciting items to give away, we love to do a special raffle, or if it works out, we'll do a silent auction. Everything goes to charity. We'll also have the SMGA guys supporting our wounded veterans and helping them get out and play some rounds of golf, doing our mulligans again. So anyway, we are off to a great start. I appreciate everybody's help that's been on the planning committee, and hopefully we can get as many new sponsors involved as possible. So thanks a lot. We're really looking forward to Monday, July 12th. A good start around 10 a.m. Show up early for breakfast and registration. And again, if you have any questions, reach out to anybody on the board or anybody on the page right there in front of you. Thanks, Thelma.
You're welcome. Jayson, thank you. This is going to be a great opportunity for us to reconnect with our government and industry partners after a very long year with COVID. And so hopefully it's going to be a beautiful day and we can get out and have some fun. Not only are we looking for golfers, we're looking for volunteers as well. So Jayson, thank you again. And I hope to see most of you on the course in a couple of months. In closing, a special thank you to our speaker, our sponsors, and all of our attendees. We hope we have a great summer season in store for you. Thank you for joining us today. Please stay safe and have an amazing rest of your day.